早晨啊，大家好啊！歡迎大家今日咧就嚟到我哋香港大學專業進修學院HKU Space 嘅CLST Open House 健康科技在線嘅第一個嘅講座嘅。咁啊，我係 Tony 啦，咁啊大家好。咁希望大家都琴晚都瞓得好啦嚇。咁就今日我哋就有一個以英文為主嘅 talk 係啦，咁就講關於大數據啦，同埋而家好流行嘅人工智能係點樣去即係加持去幫助呢一個嘅所謂叫做數碼嘅醫療嚇。So good morning everyone. Thank you for joining the HKU Space CLST Open House event today. So I'm Tony, and this would be the coming first talk. So we are very happy to have Mr. Paul Farley, okay, from Australia, to share with us about the big data and AI empowering smart healthcare. So Paul is a consummate digital professional with extensive and professional experience in the digital healthcare industry. As a general manager of Dimensional Insights Asia, he has been working with, I think, thousands of healthcare professionals and hospitals in the smart healthcare industry. So today, Paul would share with us his expertise and professional insights on the big data and AI to see how they empower the smart healthcare. So without further ado, so I think, Paul, you may start now. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much for the introduction. Well, welcome to the future, everybody. It is very exciting to be working with people who are creating the new economy using big data and artificial intelligence. Today, I will show you how, through education and learning, to become part of this new era as a valuable and very employable knowledge worker in the healthcare industry. Imagine talking to your digital self, your digital twin, who keeps you up to date with healthcare trends and being your personal healthcare expert and therapist with access to population healthcare data and treatments, and under strict control, access to your own personal data. Not only can you use such capabilities yourself, but also as a digital healthcare knowledge worker, be a creator of such positive, life-changing, inspiring, and creative capabilities. According to Dell, some 85% of the jobs that will exist in 2030, not that long in the future, have not been invented yet. So get prepared. I was just introduced, but I'm a firm believer that life is a long, continuous learning journey. And with passion and drive, you can make it a great adventure. I'm a practical academic with masters in engineering, mathematics, and digital business, and supervised over 100 digital transformation and healthcare informatics projects. I have a passion and flair for all things digital, and as a digital opinion leader, I am very privileged to share my knowledge and experiences in business and in the classroom, particularly in applied big data and AI in healthcare. Life sciences is a great career area where many technologies are advancing life enhancement, wellness, and healthcare. Disruptive technologies such as artificial intelligence and generative pre-trained transformers, or probably better known to yourself as GPT or Chat GPT, are changing the healthcare landscape and significantly adding to the capabilities of the ever-growing number of knowledge workers. Life sciences are areas where advances in technology and improving human lifestyles safety, comfort, and increasing wellness and healthcare. Digital healthcare technologies are creating new treatments, smart hospitals, smart machines, advanced healthcare analytics, and real-time digital connectivity. Let's look at some of these technologies. As you can see, there are numerous technologies being harnessed in healthcare to improve patient experiences and outcomes and help hospitals and healthcare become more efficient and effective. I cover all of these technologies in my classes. However, today I will focus on big data and AI as disruptive technologies driving and advancing healthcare. You've probably heard a lot about OpenAI with access to huge amounts of data, and ChatGPT transforming health and other data in the large language models using deep learning and AI. We will now take a closer look at these and how they will be the go-to tools for new generation knowledge workers and the source of huge jobs now and in the future in healthcare. But first, let's look at definitions. And these definitions, they will shape the future of life, learning and working as we know it today. Artificial intelligence, where digital computers are performing tasks commonly associated with intelligent beings. GPT, natural language system to answer questions. Generative AI, new outputs from trained inputs. Large language models, which are really trained models on large data sets. And the buzz, ChatGPT, which is a powerful AI chatbot. How do these all work together to create the future? Well, AI has a number of components, in particular machine learning, deep learning, and natural language processing. Big data is the oil that drives the AI learning engines. Large language models are created from the OpenAI big data sources. Next, we will look at the differences between machine learning and deep learning and why deep learning is so popular now. Machine learning is a part of artificial intelligence that enables machines to learn from past data and perform a given task automatically. Deep learning is machine learning taken to the next level, a subset of machine learning inspired by how human brains work and learn. It's also called artificial neural networks. The key difference is that in deep learning, the feature extraction and classification are combined. In general, deep learning takes longer time to train than machine learning. But with today's computing power, this is not a real issue. Note, ChatGPT has some 96 layers of deep learning neural network engine. Let's look a bit deeper at the history and cost of GPT. GPT is not new, but with advances in computing power and AI technology, it has developed quickly, particularly over the last few years, at significantly reduced costs. It is amazing to think every decision GPT makes goes through some 175 billion parameters as property of training data with weights and biases. Learning during the learning process. The number of parameters is often used as a measure of how well a model is performing. Tokens are smaller units of text, which are natural language building blocks. The real object is to turn data into information, and ChatGPT is revolutionary in accomplishing this. Our thirst for knowledge will never be satisfied. Therefore, ChatGPT will be a key, ongoing, needed resource. Also, amazingly, the human brain has trillions of synapses, yet only using the equivalent of a light bulb, 13 watts of energy, to process them. So not only will there be pressure to reduce the cost of AI, but also the need to reduce the enormous level of energy consumption. Therefore, the use of quantum computers and development of much more advanced AI technology is required. To put this in perspective, let's look at how AI learning works and is applied. Fundamentally, the learning has 3 steps. First, collecting and cleaning demonstration data and train a supervisor policy with desired output. Second, collect comparison data and train and ranking outputs and creating a reward learning model. Third, reward model policy is optimized using the proximal policy optimization, which is the default reinforcement learning algorithm at OpenAI. What applications are these learning capabilities being applied to? Generative AI has been evolving for a few years and now entering prime time, creating and enhancing applications from text to image to voice, to video games and to movies. And you can see the progression looking forward for the next 3 to 5 years. All major growing areas of applied technology expansion in their own right. Let's look at how these can be used in healthcare. As there is lots of buzz about ChatGPT, it is beneficial to differentiate between generative AI and ChatGPT for a healthcare provider. ChatGPT is being used in rehabilitation and payment services and the area of claims management, whereas Guy focuses on more advanced applications such as X-rays, cancer enhanced diagnosis, and resource optimization. Well, let's see how these technologies can be used in health insurance. In the health insurance, ChatGPT is very useful for chronic disease management and multi-services and insurance service provider differentiated applications, such as lower premiums based on health activities. Whereas Guy is strong in data actuaries, analyzing statistics and using them to calculate insurance risks and premiums calculations and pinpoint services for underserved communities such as low-income groups. How quickly will these services be realized? Let's look at the growth of ChatGPT. ChatGPT is growing exponentially with over 1 million users in 5 days and some 5 million users in a few months. Note, earlier versions have been available since 2018, and the service is now becoming mainstream and seen as great value for certain applications for both public and private data. In simple terms, how does ChatGPT work? So how does ChatGPT work? ChatGPT is a deep learning engine which uses natural language processing and accesses huge amounts of data and learns to a point of being able to predict accurately the next word. The original designers were amazed how good it worked and can respond to requests of questions. This was beyond their expectations. Being able to learn and craft fluid and well-articulated responses to specific questions in real time. So how can ChatGPT do this? ChatGPT is built on OpenAI and has access to all the accessible data in the world. What is not so well known is that the engine has human reinforcement learning feedback. This provides supervised learning capabilities to further enhance the learning process. Google and many other engines use this method to enhance their learning engine training process and accuracy. I, for example, am a chief engineer of an AI project in Australia to detect problem gambling disease. And this project uses human feedback reinforcement as part of the learning approach. Well, where will the commercial growth of these applications come from? I believe the real energy and value of AI and GPT will come from industries which turn GPT internally to interrogate their own data. This area of applied AI and GPT will be a booming area for knowledge workers and growth of the so-called prompt engineer, who is a knowledge worker who talks to AI chatbots. AI solutions such as Bloomberg GPT and CFO GPT, and even the ability to turn a sketch into a website design are examples of such creative capabilities based on big data, AI, and LLM. Large language models created from big data are the building blocks of the future. Look who's involved in LLMs. OpenAI and ChatGPT are not alone. Many large generating companies are also creating LLMs and GPT engines to commercially turn their data into information on demand. And we see this as an ongoing process. These will drive the rise of the new generation of knowledge workers. All of this AI and GPT activity is not only being created by knowledge workers, but also they are key users of this additional and soon to be dominant form of search, information, and knowledge on demand. Well, who are these knowledge workers, and how will they create applications, drive industries, and generate new jobs? Knowledge worker has been around for quite a while, since the 1960s. And knowledge workers are an umbrella group with a large capture range of skills and professions. In the healthcare industry, they include pharmacists, nurses, doctors, and healthcare workers. let's have a closer look at knowledge workers' special skills enabled through thinking for a living. Well, besides personal management and ethics and professionalism, knowledge workers are creating the new economy with a variety of skills and capabilities. Note the need for such skills as thinking skills, communications, teamwork and leadership, lifelong learning, and technology understanding and use. But this is a good point to tell you a real story that I've been related and working with a person called Sarah. Sarah is a very intelligent yet shy person and found it hard at interviews to get a job. Matter of fact, she couldn't get a job. She worked with me to create the big data and business intelligence pharmacies and drugs practical lab sessions for my classes, and learned a lot about this industry. She went for an interview and she got a job on her first interview at a pharmacy warehouse chain. She is now working in a hospital managing patient drugs. Her acquired skills as a knowledge worker helped her not only get a job, but keep it and improve and continue to grow in the healthcare industry. Nurses are good examples of healthcare knowledge workers. For example, nurses as knowledge workers will turn gathered data and be information users and turn information into knowledge, making their jobs more informed, fulfilled, satisfying, and successful. The real winner is the patient, who will have the benefit that nurses have access to real-time, detailed and personalized information to treat them and increase patient satisfaction and outcomes. Well, where can healthcare knowledge workers use generative AI to transform medicine? We've seen how nurses use it. What about other knowledge workers? GPT is a game changer for the healthcare, delivering access to information faster and always available, and assisting doctors and nurses and healthcare workers perform at their best at all times. Will there be any resistance to adopting and using AI in healthcare? I hear this question quite a lot. And to have an answer to this question, I look at what people are doing in healthcare systems. If we see that over 50% of patients are changing their healthcare providers in the US, can you imagine what patients are going to value when deciding to select their new healthcare provider? Maybe AI with a personal therapist will be a great differentiator and service attractor. There is huge potential and interest and investment from large healthcare companies, and growth of healthcare entrepreneurs reflecting strong interest in applying AI in healthcare. Here are some of these entrepreneurs. We see generative AI is opening up many new opportunities for healthcare entrepreneurs. This disruptive technology is being used to generate a new era of digital healthcare services in such areas as health plans, dentistry, pathology, and radiology, to name a few. Where there is great progress, there is often resistance and potential risks. So beware, as GPT is still in a growth stage where mistakes, misinformation, and misleading answers can be generated. So you need to check AI, created content by an expert. One thing for certain is that it will improve and with human feedback become ever increasingly more trusted and used. One area that needs to be examined closely is asking the right questions to get the right answer. Therefore, company adoption of this technology needs to be evaluated and justified. So what are companies saying about ChatGPT? In a US survey, the key findings show that nearly 80% of companies are either using ChatGPT or intending to use it. 90% of business leaders say ChatGPT is a beneficial skill for job workers. Can you imagine what will happen as the level of trust and ease of use and capability of the knowledge worker increases? Jobs will be created en masse, driven by the need for applying this technology. Well, let's have a look at where tomorrow's new jobs will be created. What sort of jobs will be similar in the future, and what jobs will change? Marketing, HR, sales, and media and computers will be somewhat similar in the future. However, engineering, IT, and project management will be significantly different, where project management will turn towards product development and management. Sectors of significant future job growth will be consumer, technology, and healthcare. Let's now have a closer look at some of these new jobs. In 2025, these jobs will start to emerge. The types of skilled workers required will be digital natives with various knowledge capabilities, such as prompt engineers, which can leverage the knowledge available with AI and GPT tools and capabilities. Prompt engineers are experts who write prose rather than code to test AI chatbots. The demand for prompt engineers is seen as one of the most in-demand professions for 2023 and beyond. As a small entrepreneur company are collectively large employers, what does this mean for startup companies? And there are hundreds of thousands of startup companies in every country. Some of the key knowledge worker skills required for startup companies, which will be built using GPT technology, are content creation, startup ideas, app design, coding, and text-related tasks. I always find the best way to find something out is to ask the question. So let's find out from the knowledge workers what they are looking for. Knowledge workers can handle the challenge of confronting new ideas, working environments and technologies, and turn information into knowledge. They not only learn, but share and continue to learn. As lifelong learners, continue to grow in value, confidence, and acquire more competence. Some student keywords and phrases that have been expressed to me in the past. They talked about a logical progression, increased analytical skills, a better chance of success, treasure the applied knowledge, discuss and blend ideas, and the one I like very much, become a teacher like you. I always think that teachers make the best students and students make the best teachers. I look forward to continue to share AI and GPT understanding, applications, and examples with you in business and in the classroom, so we can all create a better future together. In summary, smart hospitals and smart healthcare will be created and advanced by smart people. And Hong Kong U Space provides the forum for personal development and value growth, for career enhancement and career opportunities through education and learning, which are particularly needed in this big data and AI-driven digital world. Digital knowledge is at the heart of advancing healthcare, and Hong Kong U Space puts this in your hands. Thank you. And I'm
Thank you,
open
Paul.
for any
Thank you.
questions.
Yeah, thank you, Paul. Thank you very much for such a phenomenal and inspiring talk. So let's see whether we have any question from our audience. It seems, let me see. Okay, so actually I have a few questions to ask Paul. So I fully understand that. I also realize that the ChatGPT and also the AI technology could help the digital healthcare to develop and in a more, more systematic way. Okay, and also can provide more convenience to doctors or other healthcare professionals. But could you elaborate a bit more about the data privacy and also the data encryption when those healthcare professionals handling those personal data of those patients? Thank you.
Oh, it's a very good question, and privacy, security is paramount. It's the main issue. At the same time, you have the best interests of the patients and the best treatments, which on occasions needs to share information. So I've had discussions where we're looking at electronic health records, blockchain, and other ways of securing the data both in rest and in motion. And if you saw my first slide with the digital twin, with all this information, there's a digital vault that only you have an encryption key to get access to your data, and you are the only ones that allows anyone with that key, which you would have to provide them, to access to your specific data. And there are ways to make sure that any data that's moved is only moved in a form that it's fully encrypted. And of course, these systems in the base level are on HIPAA HL7. So they're at the even base layer 2, the data is passed around in an encrypted and controlled form. So there will be a need for a better and more complex security system. And that's why you see AI and quantum computers working to the point that they are looking at better cybersecurity and encryption systems for not only all the data, but in particular for the personal data.
Thank you, Paul. So I have another questions about the the enforcement of regulations on this kind of AI technology in healthcare. So could you share with us whether like US FDA and other government agencies, okay, controlling those, regulating those drug and health products, do they have any kind of, or do they plan to have any kind of validation and verification of this AI technology when they apply on the healthcare system? Thank you.
It's again a good question, and as I said, it's early days. I always remember that the internet started in Japan, where they were offering services because the actual applications were in front of the regulation. And I think this AI has got to the point that it's in front of the regulation. And now that it's prime time, front and center, the regulatory bodies and the companies are now looking at the best way to regulate it, manage it, control it to a point, and still have it available as required to people there can enhance their performance as knowledge workers. So I think it's early days, but as you can see from the buzz, that there is a lot of attention going into how this new technology should be regulated and how it should and where it should be applied. But I don't think anybody is saying that it is not going to be of some value, but that value will depend on how much trust is in the answers to your questions and how much trust is in the ability to be able to use it with the feeling that you are getting the right information. And so, as any of these new technologies are in the early stage, there will be learning curve, and that will take time to get this type of trust in the use of the data. So, and I would say at some stage that will hold back certain industries or areas to be able to use this approach in their business and health environments.
I see. Thank you, Paul. So, in fact, I just got another question from our audience. Okay. The audience would like to know about the access of the insurance company to this, this sensitive personal information on the AI platform, because they think that many people may have the insurance package, okay, for their own health and also some kind of financial investment. So it becomes likely that their health status would be really important to the insurance company, okay, especially when if they have got any kind of disease or any kind like cancer or certain kind of injury, okay, when they want to go to claim their insurance compensation. So could you elaborate a bit more about how the government or related agencies can regulate or some kind of effectively control the access of this kind of insurance company when they want to, have a look on individuals' I would say, the health portfolio through the AI platform? Thank you.
A very interesting question, and I'm sure it's in the minds of all the insurance companies and, of course, the people who want to be insured. The other side of this is by giving information to insurance companies that can monitor your health and your activities and how many steps you take. You can actually, in some cases, lower your premiums. So by sharing certain information on your personal health, it's obviously to your benefit. On the side of protecting the data is protected by the point that you will be able to only allow this to be given to any company or even doctor that you allow it to be. But this is a process that has to be put in place. I know insurance companies have and like to get access to the population health. So it's de-identified data, because then they take their insurance risk actualizations to say, well, so many patients will have this, so many clients will have another issue. So that general use of generic data is what insurance companies and healthcare companies are very interested in. When it goes down to the individual, then the individual would be discussing with the particular insurance company about what they offer and what is covered and what is not covered. And then, of course, what the government would then say, we will cover on behalf of these patients. And this is where there is an interaction between what the government covers and what the insurance covers. And of course, when you're trying to make people to move towards having their own private cover, then these sort of discussions have to be very well progressed between the insurance companies and the government for these type of people that may feel that they could be disadvantaged from such access to insurance.
I see. Thank you, Paul. So I think I have just one last question, because I think the time limits. So my question is that the COVID is almost I would say almost over. After the 3 years pandemic. So do you think the AI technology and also the big data technology, how they could assist the analysis of those epidemiology data so that people can easily predict the occurrence or the outbreak of next pandemic in the coming decades, I would say?
Well, I have no doubt that AI and more generative AI will be used to analyze every aspect of COVID-19 breakout and progress and ultimate treatments. And with all this data in a special database that's only really put into to allow a GPT engine, maybe we call it COVID-19 GPT. And then it has all of the data that can be acquired on COVID around the world, different cultures, different areas. And then with that, I should think you can ask some serious, including predictive and preventative questions on how maybe this can be done better in the future, how it can be predicted in the future, and how the treatments can be and should maybe be done different going forward. The world has had pandemics, breaks out over time, and there's no guarantee they won't come back. And so the AI, I believe, will be used as one of the defense front lines on predicting and then also responding quickly, because then it can do things in real time. And which I believe in the COVID, there was not enough information in real time with full updated capability to be able to make better informed decisions.
Great. So thank you very much, Paul, for giving us such inspiring talk to share his insights, okay, of those big data and AI, how they can empower our coming smart healthcare industry. So thank you very much for all of you to attend this talk. Okay, so I think we can end right now. We have another talk coming at 11 a.m. 好，多謝大家收睇今日呢個嘅10點到11點嘅講座。咁我哋就嚟到呢一度啦。咁就下一節咧就由11點鐘開始，希望大家可以繼續收睇或者收聽。多謝大家。